DNP 102.3. Thank you, as always, for tuning in to another edition of Saturday Night Live and Local. We are joined here in the studio by Wesley Allan. It is an Elvis tribute for you this evening. Wesley, how are you doing this evening?
Good, sir. How are you?
Doing very well. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you here, my friend. And who do we have sitting to your right here?
This is one of my longtime companions, Nick Mikey. He helps me out and makes sure that we get where we need to go.
And Nick, how are you doing this evening, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
Very good. Thank you for hanging out with us as well.
No problem.
Awesome. So we are here with Wesley Allan, Elvis tribute artist and cast member of the upcoming television series Just Like Elvis TV. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm the last survivor of the Little Bighorn. No, just kidding. Well, I've been into music for about 25 years, I guess now, and started out playing drums, and so I just moved on, and somehow I wound up doing Elvis. I don't know. I mean, I've played in every kind of band you can think of, from jazz and funk, rock, death metal, you name it. We've done it. And but Elvis was kind of an odd thing for me. It all started out, I went into the Marine Corps in 1999, and I got out in 2004. I'm an Iraq veteran as well, so I did my time, came home, was real stressed out, and just kind of wondering what to do with myself. And I got into genealogy, and I was traveling around the country. Went to New York, Michigan, a few other places. And in between all that, I got a car with Elvis radio. And that's what got me started, you know. I fell in love with the music just over time, and the first song I learned from Elvis was Are You Lonesome Tonight? And from there, and a couple years of a little bit of driving around and practicing, about a year and a half ago, I decided to record a couple Elvis songs and see how it would go.
Very cool.
Yeah, and that was it. And got some feedback, man. All right. So got some feedback. I'm used to feedback anyway, because Nick runs my sound for me. That's all the time feeding back.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Sorry, man. I threw that guy under the bus.
That's all right. I'll throw him under once before it's done and over with.
Well, before I go on any further, I know I speak on behalf of everybody here at the radio station, all the listeners as well. Thank you for your service to this country.
Thank you, sir.
That is something that means a lot to me personally. And also, too, one of my absolute favorite questions to get into with the interview, and we'll get into a little bit later on, is kind of how your taste in music has changed over the years, because from what you just told us, it sounds like there's been some profound twists.
Yeah, I would say just a little bit.
Very cool. So also, too, we have a little bit of a kind of a chronological order for the show planned this evening.
Right. We're going to start out with some of the songs that I did in the early 90s and mid-90s when I was playing drums. And the first song that we're going to start out with, with our talk here is going to be a song from a band called Soulvine 70. And it was my brother, Gary Hurlis, who is now a magistrate here in New Philly. Him on vocals, and I was playing the drums. A gentleman named Mike Rico on the bass, and Eric Adams on guitar. And we actually wrote this song in the Spanish Ballroom here in Dover in 1995.
Wow.
So, and it garnered some national attention, and was played on the radio all over the place. It was put on a CD for Undercurrent, with Saucebox, who's another band from Dover. They were on the same CD. And so I'll never forget the first time I heard that song that we're going to play on the radio for the first time. It was quite a monumental achievement, and unfortunately I was stuck at the Taco Bell drive-thru.
So you're a fellow Yum Brands alum as well, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there, my friend.
I remember hearing the song, too, on Homegrown Music, and it was pretty exciting.
can imagine. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about what it was like to practice over there in the Spanish Ballroom?
Well, it was a really interesting place, and there are a lot of stories, and I don't really want to incriminate anybody. But I will say this. It was pretty cold. I think it had asbestos in the basement, and I know you could smell the grease trap from the Chinese restaurant. And it had green shag carpet on the walls, and it had a 1960s green couch.
Wow.
And a pile of pop cans that probably you could stretch out to the moon.
Well, if that's not metal, I don't know what is.
Yeah, exactly, man. It was all about it, too.
Very cool. Well, let's give the listeners a little treat. Let's get into some Soulvine 70.
All right. This song that we're going to play is called Sentence, and it was recorded in 1995 at Joe's Garage Recording Studio in Canton, Ohio. And so that's it. Let's cue it up.
Very cool. Here it is. This is Soulvine 70 with Sentence on Saturday Night Live and local on DNP 102.3 FM. That was Soul Vine 70 with Sentence right here on DNP 102.3. That's a really killer track, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
So,
you.
I'm guessing based on what you've been saying that you're probably from the area, grew up here.
Yeah, I was born in Union Hospital. I'm not going to say when, but it was quite a long time ago.
Very cool. So what got you interested in music?
Well, it was kind of my brother's doing, I guess. We were into all sorts of things growing up, and right about the time I started getting into it was when the Joshua Tree album came out from U2,
Okay.
and I was pretty fascinated by that and the drumming, and that's kind of where it got started. And one day, my brother, I think he brought a drum or something home, and then another guy actually gave me a drum set and started me off on that, and that's how I got into it. And that song that you just heard was about 3 years after I started playing drums.
Really?
So,
No
yeah.
kidding, man.
But it was a wild ride, you know.
Sounds like you took to it pretty naturally.
Yeah. It you know, it's I think it's in my bones. I really do. I mean, everybody in my family, both of my sisters, my brother, my parents, just we all grew up around it. My dad was a minister in California,
Mhm.
and when he was in Bible school, he met my mother, and anyway, they got into music, and we still have reel-to-reel recordings of my parents in the early '60s. So it's
Too
pretty,
cool.
pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I bet, man.
Yeah, it's in my bones too, from carrying everything around for the last 20-some years.
I bet
You
it
can
is,
tell
man.
we broke him down pretty good. I mean, he's hobbling around.
Yeah, the listeners can't see it, but you got a pretty serious boot on over there.
That I do. Some friends of mine have been teasing me and calling me Bootstrap.
So what was your first gig? What was your first big gig out?
Actually, my first big gig out, I think, was with this band. We opened up for a band called Mineral and Splendura, which was with Warner Brothers at the time, and they called one of their guys called us, and we actually headlined the show.
Mhm.
They, I guess, for whatever reason, decided to have us do it, and it was at the Daily Double in Akron, and it was packed out, and it was crazy because you know, being our first show, there's tons of people, and we were like, oh man, I think we're going to finally do this. And then after that, it's just kind of, you know, you come back home and you play in a bar, and there's, you know, two people, and
Right.
both of them are somebody's girlfriend.
So initially you got a kind of a taste of what the big gig is like.
Yeah, so it kind of spoiled us right off the bat.
Can imagine. You know, I've noticed too a lot that when that happens to musicians, to bands, that kind of actually kind of sets your bar a little bit higher for
Yes,
you know, for what you shoot for.
yes. Yep.
And a lot of the times it results in a really quality and killer song like what we just heard.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's that song is pretty near and dear to me and a few other people, I'm sure, that have heard it. And I still hear people, you know, on Facebook or whatever, hey, you know, I really like that Oasis song. You know, I'm like, well, it's going to play tomorrow night on DNP.
There you
can
go,
hear it.
man.
My little brother was into the Soul Vine 70 pretty hard when he was little. And we did play a lot of really good gigs.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun.
Very cool.
Yep.
So did you take any lessons when you first started playing drums, or did you just kind of just learn by ear?
It was all by ear, and I used a little Walkman to do it. So I had to rewind the tapes. You know, it was
Yeah.
before CD players were, you know, readily available, and if you could get one, they were really expensive. So
Yeah, the Walkman. Yeah, man, I remember that very well. I guess my next question for you then is, what was your biggest influence initially? I mean, as far as like other bands went.
I think that honestly, my biggest influence was probably Metallica.
Yeah.
Some of the first music I learned how to play on the drums was with Metallica, and just day after day, driving my parents crazy. You know, I started out beating on my mom's pants. You know, I think she has some that are still dented, actually.
Very cool.
But you know, yeah, it was a lot of fun, and just what more can I say about it?
So what's it been like for you, kind of stepping out from behind the stage and then finding yourself, as being the solo and main attraction?
I I thought at first maybe I would be a little more nervous about it or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty well accustomed to it now,
Mm-hmm.
and I won't say I don't have stage fright. Yeah, I have some butterflies or whatever, but for the most part, I'm a Marine, man. Come on, I got nerves
Yeah,
of steel,
absolutely.
right?
Right.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. No,
we
but-
have a pretty good system, and when I cue him in, and he comes in and he's on cue and ready to entertain.
Any kind of pre-gig ritual?
Drinking lots of fluids,
Yeah.
which presents a challenge for a jumpsuit era Elvis, by the way, because there's no way to go to the bathroom. Just pointing that out. So you got to kind of monitor what you're doing.
And I got to give it to him because that suit is hot.
Oh, I can imagine, man. Yeah.
He sings over there, sings 2 sets, 20 songs apiece. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty warm. A lot of people criticized Elvis, later on in the 70s because the CBS special that they saw him on that was taped, he was all sweaty and he just didn't look well, which he kind of didn't. But he was sweating because the jumpsuit it's like 1,000,000 degrees in there, So after doing this, I kind of cut the guy a little bit of slack.
I can imagine, man, and I always have too. Anybody who wrestled in high school, a lot of us used to do the old garbage bag trick.
Yeah.
We'd put garbage bags all over us. You know what I mean? And talk about making things about 20 times hotter than what they actually are. No breathability. So how long was Soulvine 70 going on?
I think we did probably about a year and a half.
Is that right?
And so once I left there, I jammed with some other guys. In between all that, it was kind of like a blur. But I've worked with a couple of other guys since I was in high school, and that's Dave Robinson and Lee Mullins, and a guy named Terry Coletti. When we were in high school, we started playing metal music, and we had a band called War Cry, which was named after the Salvation Army pamphlet or magazine. We saw one day, we're like, that's an awesome name for a band.
That's very cool.
We're lucky we didn't get sued.
Actually, the Salvation Army has influenced a lot of musicians over the years.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't really get too much credit for it.
Yeah.
But they really have.
Well, back in them days, it was pretty rough. So anything that we, could take and do something with, that they pretty much did.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Very cool.
And these 2 guys, or 3 guys that I mentioned, very talented guys that are still playing music today. And Lee Mullins and Dave Robinson and I still practice and jam together, and maybe we'll play some shows out or something. I don't know, but it's getting a little harder to keep up with them these days,
Yeah.
But yep.
So what do you have anything coming up?
Yeah, the next gig I have is going to be February 13th at 1 p.m. at the Park Place Teen Center. We're doing the benefit for the New Philadelphia Police Auxiliary, and it's $10 at the door, or you can hit me up on Facebook and I can get you some tickets, or whatever. So $10. So
Very cool.
and I think I'll be at the Quaker Cinema. Probably in March or April again. We did 2 shows there this year that went really well. They were sold out both times. And we also were able to raise some money for some individuals in the community that were having some problems and medical needs. So that's really a big part of what I do with this Elvis thing is try to raise money for people in the community who are hurting, and also, real quick, before I forget, May 7th, we're going to be doing a Relay for Life at the Teen Center as well.
Awesome.
And we're going to be raising money for cancer research. So I can't remember the time right off the top of my head, but it's probably 1 o'clock or so.
Very cool. Yeah, the Teen Center is really doing a lot of great stuff these days. They've always done great stuff. But
Yeah, yep. And Sam Hitchcock, too, is a wonderful man. And,
Absolutely.
he's been through a lot, too. So,
We had him on the show.
Yeah, we've had Sam on the show. And
Yeah.
as a matter of fact, we met you. The station met you over at the Soapbox Derby there at the Park Place Teen Center.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
And so, I want to help him out in any way that I can and help our community out. So,
We take a lot of pride in that.
yeah.
That's
A lot
awesome.
of pride.
I can imagine so, man, and that's great to hear. I mean, I personally appreciate everything that you're doing for the community, man. That's great.
Thank you. Thanks.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I'm kind of getting a little bit out of order here. So,
That's all right.
Going back after Soulvine 70, the next band that you were in after that, tell us a little bit about it.
After Soulvine, I tinkered around for a little bit, and I wound up going into the Marines in 1999, and so that pretty much did my music career in. And so in 2004, I finally came home, and I bought a pair of Roland V drums while I was out in San Diego, so I could practice in my apartment without getting the cops called on me. Not that they would respond out there. My car got robbed once, and they just sent me a letter. They never even came out, so I probably wouldn't have been a big deal. But no. In 2004, I got into a project with Dave Robinson and Lee Mullins again, and we were called Triangra. And we did a lot of like heavier metal stuff. We did a lot of covers of like Pantera and Megadeth and Metallica, and we're just really into that. And we put out an album called Crushed. And the next song that we're going to show you is a song called Die a Lifetime, which I actually sang and played the drums on that song. And I hope it doesn't make your ears bleed. That was like my first real attempt at singing anything on a CD or anything, so it's just, it kind of is what it is. But I will say this, that the other two guys, their performances are exceptional, and Lee Mullins is probably one of the best all-around guitar players I've ever encountered.
Yeah, the same here. I mean, he's got so much talent, raw talent.
Yeah.
And some of the riffs he comes up with are really killer.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you'll hear the lead that he plays on that song, and it seriously, you can see it gives me chills just thinking about it.
No kidding.
So, yeah.
Is he listening to the show tonight?
I don't know. I hope so.
Is he still local in the area here? Or?
Yeah, yep. And matter of fact, we'll be practicing tomorrow.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, speaking of which, if anybody's listening and has any questions, feel free to give us a call at 343-1023. You can also look us up on Facebook. It's Saturday Night Live and Local on DNP 102.3. That is, again, on Facebook. Ask any questions you have, and we'll get them on over the air for you. So how about we hop right into some Triangra?
Sounds great, man.
Awesome.
This song, real quick, is called Die a Lifetime. It's just basically about losing somebody that you love, and that's it.
Very cool. Understandable. All right, this is Triangra on Saturday Night Live and Local on DNP 102.3 FM.
If
DNP 102.3 FM. That was Triangra with Die a Lifetime, man. That was a really killer track.
Thank you. Thanks. Let me fix my mic here. There we go. You know you've made it in the music world when your dad calls you up on a Saturday and says, Wes, I found your CD. I was like, really? Well, where are you at? He says, I'm at the Goodwill. I said, well, buy every copy you got, man. I don't even have one. So he bought me my only copy of it.
No kidding. So you said that you were in San Diego. Was that recorded in San Diego, or was that recorded around here?
That was recorded in our own studio.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. So we had a little studio going on, and that was recorded there, as well as the whole album that we had, which was the Crushed album. I think you can still find it on iTunes or something.
I'm gonna have to try to find that.
Yeah, it's a lot. Most of it's a lot heavier than that, but
Yeah, it'll rock you.
Yeah. You had mentioned over the break, or during the song, actually, you wanted to talk a little bit more about just how hard it really was.
Yeah, back in the 90s there, I mean, if it wouldn't have been for some local people around here with the businesses, Mr. Donut and Mary Zeifers and then my ex-wife used to work at Wendy's, and I'm going to tell you what, if it wouldn't have been for them people, there was a lot of days, a whole bunch of guys would have went hungry.
Yeah, we were. I think before I went into the Marines, when I was doing all this, I weighed 155 pounds, and I think sometimes we would go days without eating and then run across somebody and like, you got food? A lot of kids our age were like, hey, man, you want to go get drunk? We're like, dude, we just want food, man.
Yeah, food, and let us get back to jamming.
Yep.
Yeah.
I tell you what, the music part of it really kept me and a lot of my other guys out of getting in trouble that normal kids get into. I mean, we were all about the music, and if we weren't in our practice spot here in Dover or New Philly, we were at home in bed pretty much, or working or whatever.
Or out at my place.
Yeah. It was just, we didn't do a whole lot of messing around. We were pretty focused as kids, and, and I guess in some ways it paid off, and maybe others it didn't. I don't know. It just...
a lot of fond memories.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun. Like he's saying, I mean, I was there every practice.
Yeah.
And, practically we lived down underneath the Spanish ballroom
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah, we literally ate, slept, and drank in there. I mean, it just that was how we lived.
Yeah. I mean, it was hard at times, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. I mean, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's all that matters, right?
Yeah, and thank God for knowing people at Wendy's and Mr. Donut.
Yes.
All
And
right.
Goshen Dairy too. They helped us out too.
Yep.
Goshen Dairy. It's too bad they're not around anymore, man.
The chocolate ice cream was to die for.
Just their ice cream in general.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
The
all-
vanilla. The
oh,
vanilla was the bomb.
So good. All right, guys. Well, we got to take a quick break real quick for some station identification. And when we get back from the break, we'll talk a little bit more about how your musical style has kind of changed and over the years. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
All right. Well, this is DNP 102.3 FM, Saturday Night Live and Local with Wesley Allan in the studio with us. And we're going to take a quick break. We're back right after this.
Saturday night, live and local from DNP 102.3.
Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Saturday Night Live and Local. Again, we are joined here in the studio by Wesley Allan. Again, thank you very much for taking time to come and do this.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. It's a pleasure to have you here. We were going to talk, before the break, we were talking about how your musical style has changed over the years. Obviously, we've got a very metal background.
Sure. Yep.
So what came after the metal?
Well, what came after the metal? I had left the Marine Corps, went into metal again, and my guys decided to move on band-wise because I was working a lot. I was working 2 jobs, and it just wasn't going very well for us because, how things are.
Absolutely.
And so we parted ways, and I just didn't do anything with music for quite a long time. I was just over it and tired,
He became a family man.
Yeah. Had a couple kids, had my firstborn son, and and all the time, still kind of singing Elvis here and there. And about a year and a half ago, I decided to record a couple of Elvis songs just to see how it would go, and I posted them on Facebook and, not really expecting much out of it. And literally my phone didn't stop ringing for about 3 days. And people were calling me and trying to get a hold of me. Hey, can you do a show? I can't really do much. I don't even have a costume or anything. So I invested in some of the things I needed, and I went from there, and I did my first Elvis show last November.
No kidding. So what drew you to Elvis?
Pardon?
What drew you to Elvis?
I'm not really sure. I was even in Memphis when I was in my 20s, and the people I was with were all about stopping at Graceland. I was like, oh, man, come on. You got to be kidding me. That's just so square. And I missed out on a great opportunity. I never was into Elvis music or anything, and I think just the first song that I learned how to sing was "Are You Lonesome Tonight," and something about that song just spoke to me, and it helped relax my nerves. Being out of the Marine Corps and just trying to get over all the things that went on in my life, and having a lot of issues there. And other health problems. I actually have heart valve disease, which went undiagnosed for my whole life. And it really started to affect me, and it makes you have anxiety attacks and panic attacks, and your heart will start flipping out and all this other stuff.
That's something I know all about.
Yeah. Okay. And so anyway, by the grace of God, I was able to find a doctor who got my heart under control, and but anyway, that stress that I had during that time, I used that music to try to relieve my nerves, and that's how I got into it.
So Elvis was your medicine.
Yeah,
for the time. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
And
Still is, really.
Yeah.
And then he got the suit and started going, and then got a hold of me.
There
Yep.
you go.
And, here I am.
I need some help.
22 years later, the glutton for punishment.
Yep.
So where was your first show at doing Elvis tribute?
It was over at the Park Place Teen Center,
Yeah.
actually. We did a benefit for cancer, and that was in November of last year.
Awesome. Man.
And it went real well. I think we sold over 500 tickets for the show.
Wow.
And and it helped a lot of kids out. So
very cool. Well, how about we hop into some Elvis?
Yeah. The first song that I think we have queued up is a song that I recorded. It's called "That's All Right." It was a song that Arthur Crudup wrote, and Elvis recorded it on July 5th of 1954, and it was the first single that he ever released, and that the rest was really history from there. 'Cause
Yeah.
it just took off.
Some serious history.
So anyway, this song is "That's All Right."
All right.
So.
Well, you heard it from the source. This is That's All Right on Saturday Night Live and Local on DNP 102.3.
That's all right, Mama. That's all right for you. That's all right, Mama. Just any way you do. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right now, Mama. Any way you do. Well, Mama, she done told me. Papa done told me too. Son, that gal you're fooling with, she ain't no good for you. That's all right. That's all right.
That was "That's All Right" by Wesley Allan and an Elvis tribute. That was an awesome cover there, man. That was very good. Awesome rendition.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. You know, some people, they don't really, I didn't get this either. You know, some people be like, you're an Elvis impersonator, or you're a Elvis tribute artist. What's the difference anyway? And I would always tease around and say, well, you know, an Elvis tribute artist has to glue his sideburns on, and an Elvis impersonator will grow his own. But I've grown my own sideburns now, so I guess that isn't true. But no, a tribute artist, you know, the difference between a tribute artist like myself and an impersonator, I guess, would be, you know, an impersonator, you know, acts like he's Elvis when he's on stage, as far as like the way he talks and says, well, this is my record that I put out, and whenever. I don't do that. I'm actually probably more myself than anything else. So
Seems almost a little bit more respectful too.
yeah, exactly. And I don't have a problem with so-called impersonators or whatever. You know, I have a jumpsuit and stuff like that, but it's just you know where your limits are. You know, I'm not Elvis Presley. I don't pretend to. Well, I guess maybe I sort of pretend to be, but I know I'm not the guy. You know, I mean, he was an icon. You know, my goals with this are just to entertain people and help people at the same time. So
Definitely.
but the next song that we have up is actually the B side of that first single, which Elvis did, and this next song was called "Blue Moon of Kentucky." And it was written by Bill Monroe and also recorded July 5th of 1954.
Very cool. All right, well, this is Blue Moon of Kentucky by Wesley Allan and Elvis Tribute on DNP 102.3 FM.
Blue, 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 keep shining bright. Blue, keep on shining bright. You wanna bring me back, come on, baby, tonight. Blue, keep shining bright. I said blue, love, keep on shining. Shine on when it's gonna let me blue. I said blue, love, keep on shining. Shine on when it's gonna let me blue. Well, it was on one midnight star shining bright. Wishful high, love, say goodbye. Blue, love, Kentucky, keep on shining. Shine on when it's gonna let me blue. I said blue, love, Kentucky, keep on shining. Shine on when it's gonna let me blue. I said blue, love, Kentucky, keep on shining. Shine on when it's gonna let me blue. Well, it was on midnight star shining bright. Wishful high, love, say goodbye. Blue moon of Kentucky, keep on shining. Shine on when it's gonna let me blue.
Blue Moon of Kentucky by Wesley Allan and Elvis Tribute on DNP 102.3. That was a killer. I like how you put the little, you can hear like the vinyl cracking in the background there.
Right. Yeah, that was a little something I added in there that I thought would give it kind of that old sound effect, you know. So just like listening to the real album skipping and scratching, you know.
Yeah, dig it. And the listener can't see it right now, but you had a little bit of fun with the actual cover of the CD itself, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. It looks like an old 45 or a 78 RPM record.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, the next song that I want to get into is a song that's called "Don't Be Cruel," and "Don't Be Cruel" was kind of a monumental transfer for Elvis, I guess, because he was with Sun Records, and then then RCA bought his contract, and I think they paid like $40,000 to Sam Phillips to get Elvis, which, you know, in retrospect was just pennies on the dollar, really.
That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
No kidding.
And so he went to New York, and he recorded "Don't Be Cruel" on July 2nd of 1956, and well, at RCA, and that was his this number one hit. Was on all three charts, the pop, R&B, and country charts, number one at the same time. And it was a song by Otis Blackwell, and which was a guy, he also wrote a lot of songs for Jerry Lee Lewis. He did Great Balls of Fire.
No kidding, man.
So, but and also they sold 6 million of these by 1961 of this song.
Wow.
That's intense.
So, yeah.
That is, man.
So, "Don't Be Cruel" is the next one.
All right.
So, cue her up, brother.
All right, here it is.
Oh, you know I can be found sitting home alone. If you can't come around, at least be his telephone. I don't be too hard, that's true. Maybe if I made you mad for something I might have said, please forget my past. The future looks bright ahead. I don't be too hard, that's true. I don't want no other love. Oh, baby, it's just you I'm thinking of. Don't stop thinking of me. Don't make me feel this way. Come on over here to love me. You know what I wanted you to say. I don't be too hard, that's true. I don't want no other. Oh, baby, it's just you I'm thinking of. Let's walk up to the preacher. Let us say I do. Then you'll know you'll have me. You know, then I'll have you. I don't be too hard, that's true. I don't want no other. Oh, baby, it's just you I'm thinking of. I don't be cruel, too hard, that's true. Don't be cruel, too hard, that's true. I don't want no other. Oh, baby, it's just you I'm thinking of.
That was "Don't Be Cruel" by Wesley, Allan, and Elvis tribute on DNP 102.3 FM, Saturday Night Live and Local. During the break, you were actually telling us a pretty cool story about the recording of that song.
Yeah,
What
you
led
know,
up to it?
excuse me. Through the recording process and stuff, you always trying to get the equipment that sounds the most authentic. And in this digital age, sometimes that's hard to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I do have a connection in Nashville. My cousin was a studio engineer at RCA Nashville, which was part of where Elvis Presley recorded later on. And I got to talking to him, and I said, you know, I'm looking for one of those Shure Unidyne microphones. I can't come across anyone for less than, $1,500.
Right.
He's like, oh, I got one, man. I'll ship it to you. So about 2 weeks later, I get the box, and sure enough, it's in there. It's a nice, beautiful, vintage Shure S55 Unidyne.
Wow.
And I had to get the cord because it's got a different connection in it, and got the cord working. And so that was kind of a treat. And that song, Don't Be Cruel, was recorded with that Shure microphone.
It gives it that authentic sound.
It does.
Yeah, it does, definitely. So
It really does. And like we were talking about too over the break, if I didn't know any better, I would honestly think that I was listening to Elvis Presley there.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And you were saying the same thing. Tell us the story about when you first showed your grandma.
She didn't believe me that it was him. I've had quite a few friends that stopped over, and I've played it, and they're like, "Well, we're just listening to Elvis," and I'm like, "No, you're listening to Wes," and they're like, "That's not Wes. You guys recorded it, and or you're just trying to trick me. And I'm like, no.
Yeah,
I'm,
I'm not trying to trick anybody, you know. I tell you one thing about my recording process with most of my music. I try to make sure that I sing the song from beginning to end. So every take that you hear is an authentic take from beginning to end. It's not a bunch of digitally chopped up stuff. Oh, this part sounds good, so I'm going to switch this around. I try to eliminate that, and I will literally do 400 takes on a song in order to get it as perfect as I want it to sound, because I'm meticulous like that.
he is definitely meticulous.
And with Elvis, he had such a unique voice that and a unique vibrato about his voice
Absolutely.
that it's just very difficult to capture. And I have worked just endlessly trying to do that. And hopefully you'll see with the next song, "Are You Lonesome Tonight?" Hopefully I captured some of his vibrato in that song. But it is, it's definitely been a challenge.
Wes, I got to tell you, man, you said you started doing this last November, correct?
Yeah.
You got a real knack for this, man.
Thanks.
You really do.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And I'm curious to hear from the listeners, too. You know, anyone that's listening, if you want to give us a call at 343-1023. Visit us on Facebook. Let us know, you know, especially if you've just tuned in, and if you've tuned in during a song, do you think you're listening to Elvis, or do you think you're listening to somebody who's a tribute artist to Elvis? Because I really can't quite tell the difference here.
Thank you. I'm definitely humbled. Thanks.
Hey, man.
that I agree with.
Yeah.
And then when we go and do shows, getting the sound right, you know, is a big. You know, we're there 2 or 3 hours sound checking sometimes just to get it to sound the best that it's going to sound.
Yeah.
And we've been at the point sometimes where I've actually performed a whole show just to get the sound right before the show, because it has to be right for the people, you know.
Yeah.
I would imagine playing at the Quaker, the acoustics have got to be pretty true to.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It is. And
Some places are really good, and then some places are a challenge.
Yeah. But
do-
we've had the last 2 times we were at the Quaker, we had Sam Hitchcock come down and do the sound for us.
Oh,
Which,
very cool.
if you ever need a sound production company, he's the way to go. He's a really great guy, like
He
I said
is,
earlier, and he'll work with you. So
That he will do.
Absolutely.
He come in and he set up and he goes, "Here you go, have at it," you know. And,
Yeah.
And it sounded good, and it was a really good show. You know, we had a lot of fun. At least I did anyway.
absolutely.
Yeah, Sam's a close friend of the station as well. So, yeah, we're always you know, happy to you know, to do anything that we can with him. You know. So who's playing the instruments on the tracks? that we're
The
hearing?
tracks I actually use are the same backing tracks that I use when I perform, because it would be nearly impossible for me to get all of the equipment, the instruments, and the people to do it all. So it was kind of, for me, it was more of a financial issue than it was anything else. And you know, I don't know. I just some of the tracks that you find aren't very good or whatever, but you know, it just is what it is. And it's more of, you know, they're more of demos, you know, and it's stuff that I use to practice with. Basically, I record myself singing to his music to see what areas I need to change or improve on, which, you know, can be a lot.
Yeah. And that's got to be really cool too, just in terms of you know, authenticism. You know, you're actually going along to the exact same timing that he was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I got to give it to Wes. Being around music as long as I have, to hit your cues right and to come in and sing, you know, off of that old style like that.
Yeah.
It's challenging.
And, you know, Elvis was a unique artist too, because I mean, his career spanned decades, and, you know, a human being's voice changes, you know, the more they sing. You know, you get a little raspier here or
Right.
a little of this there, and so every era of Elvis you have to be kind of a different singer.
Yeah.
You know, to sing some of the early 50s stuff like "That's All Right, Mama," and then to go on to sing music like "Hurt," which was recorded in 1976. I mean, that's, you know, you're going from like the rockabilly style clear through kind of like an operatic style of singing. So it's quite a wide range.
And it's also challenging.
Yeah, I was going to say that's
running
good.
the sound too.
Definitely.
Because on every song, we get a bass line, and then when we jump from the old stuff into, the late 60s and then into the 70s. I mean, you gotta play with it the whole time.
Yeah.
To make it sound right, because it is very challenging. Now, I can't wait to get to the point where we could actually have a full big band. I think that'd be totally cool. But
That's definitely one of my goals, is to have the whole ensemble. I mean, can you imagine, he had some of the best backup vocalists in the country at the time, like with the Stamps Quartet or the Imperials, the Jordanaires. I mean, he really had it going on, and you never find people to replace that. But, I can't imagine what the cost would be to have the whole thing, which is why I'm kind of stuck, singing with the tracks, is because,
Right.
that's $1 million production right there.
Well, you do have one piece of the puzzle, don't you?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I hope so, anyways.
At least with your vocals, and
Yeah.
you got the guitar too, right?
Yeah, play a little guitar, yep.
And the Gibson, right?
Yeah,
the
yep.
actual vintage Gibson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Oh,
I'm
man,
about
I
the
bet.
only other one that gets to touch it.
Yeah. It right now it's kind of a case queen. It gets used when we're doing shows and stuff, and so I try to take care of it. I'll tell you this: I have to thank my wife too, because she puts up with a lot of stuff. I mean, not only is there the buying of the equipment and the special, 1977 vintage Gibson Dove guitar or whatever, it's the all the women and the kisses from the old ladies too.
Yeah.
So she knows where my heart is, and she knows that I love her. So
Yes, I do thank her very much,
Yep.
because with the women that do come up and try to basically kiss your butt, but no, I mean it's all fun. I mean, we have a good time. I have a great time running sound and watching their faces and how it lights
Yeah,
them up, and
definitely.
the vibe that they give back is just phenomenal. Like he said, doing the early stuff with the metal, you had one sort of vibe, and that was it. And this here, it's more than that. It's like it with the feedback that you're getting from them, you guys are feeding off each other, but it's totally different than from the metal.
Right.
It really touches people's hearts. I mean, when you're screaming metal, you're like, "Oh, I'm so angry, and then you turn around and, "Are you lonesome tonight?" And it's they love that stuff, and I do too.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun with it.
Elvis is one of the greats. He will, I would imagine 2,000 years from now, he'll still, people will still really be able to relate and connect to his music.
I hope
Well,
so.
He sung like 700 or 800 different
Yeah,
songs.
I think he recorded over 750
Wow.
of some form or fashion. Be a live recording at a concert or a studio recording, or soundtracks for movies. I mean, I can't tell you how many hundreds
We've
of
often
those.
talked about if he wouldn't have passed away during the 80s and the 90s and stuff, you know what I mean? On what he would have been doing,
No kid.
because people wrote songs all the time for him, and he did songs from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, how cool would it have been to have an STP song with Elvis Presley?
Yeah, man.
You
no
know
doubt.
what I mean? Which truly really could have
Yeah,
happened.
you just never know where his style would have gone either,
Yeah.
and what influences he would have had later on. It would have been really interesting to hear that, and maybe we can do some Elvis and chains or something.
That would be pretty good.
Dude, that would be really cool. Very cool.
Sing some Alice in Chains Elvis style.
Man, that'd be really cool. Earlier we had mentioned Are You Lonesome Tonight. I believe that's the next track we have
It
coming
is.
up, right?
It is. Yep. And leading into that, just a few things about the song. He recorded that when he got back from the Army, and it was a song that was written by Roy Turk and Lou Hanman in 1926. So it's a really old song. It wasn't like something that they just wrote for Elvis. I mean, it had been around for decades before they got a hold of it. And it's really interesting, too, that Elvis didn't want to record the song.
Really?
He actually didn't like the song, and but the Colonel, Tom Parker, asked Elvis to record it because his wife liked the song, and so they got done with the recording for that day, which would have been April 4th, 1960, and so they decided to give it a shot. And the track that you hear is the third time that they ever recorded it.
Really?
They scrapped 2 tracks before it, and the last track was an edit because the Jordanaires bumped one of the microphone stands at the end of the song, so
Really?
they had to chop the end of the song off and paste it. Cut the tape and tape it back
Oh, yeah.
together. Because Elvis wanted the lights out in the studio when they recorded because it gave it mood or whatever. He had Chet Atkins turn the lights off.
Really?
And so the Jordanaire bumped into the microphone, and so the ending of the song that you hear in the recording that was released is not the actual ending. So, but I had a lot of fun learning the song, and it's probably one of the more challenging songs of Elvis's to sing because not only his vocal style, but the recording style as well. The way that they were able to capture his voice at a whisper, as well as his voice when he was full on singing. So they had to really be on his voice because it was up and down and all over the place. So the song that you're going to hear is "Are You Lonesome Tonight" with me singing it. And it's kind of challenging for one guy in a studio to run the studio and sing his track at the same time. But I'll let you guys be the judge of that. So the next one is "Are You Lonesome Tonight."
Heck of an intro. Here it is on DNP 102.3 FM.
Are you lonesome tonight? Do you miss me tonight? Are you sorry we drifted apart? Does your memory stray to a bright summer day when I kissed you and called you sweetheart? Do the chairs in your parlor seem empty and bare? Do you gaze at your doorstep and picture me there? Is your heart filled with pain? Shall I come back again? Tell me, dear, are you lonesome tonight? I wonder if you're lonesome tonight. You know, someone said that the world is a stage and each of us play a part. Fate had me playing in love with you as my sweetheart. Act 1 was when we met. I loved you at first glance. You read your lines so cleverly and never missed a cue. Then came Act 2. You seemed to change, you acted strange, and why I've never known. Honey, you lied when you said you loved me, and I had no cause to doubt. But I'd rather go on hearing your lies than to go on living without you. Now the stage is bare, and I'm standing there with emptiness all around. And if you won't come back to me, then they can bring the curtain down. Oh, is your heart filled with pain? Shall I come back again? Tell me, dear, are you lonesome tonight.
Are You Lonesome Tonight by Wesley Allan, an Elvis tribute on DNP 102.3. Man, that was beautiful.
Thank you. Sorry, seemed a little scratchy there. I don't know what that was all about. If you guys heard it at home, I apologize. I tried to filter that out in the studio, but apparently I missed something.
Hey, if you ask me, it has a little bit more of an authentic feel to it. Almost,
Yeah, I guess it kind of does, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's one way of looking at it.
'Cause you're not going to be able to find that file anymore, like on the internet with like lossless audio and have it sound perfect. You know what I mean? It's going to be coming off of like an old 45 or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
That's like when he was touching about that mic. It adds that feel and nostalgia to it.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And we'll get back into that here soon, guys. We got to take another just real quick break just
Sounds
for
good.
station identification. Excuse me. And as always, thank you for the listeners of tuning in. We'll be right back right after this. We are back here in the studio with Wesley Allan and Elvis Tribute. And also we are joined here by our esteemed photographer, Vanessa Bechter.
Hello.
Thank you, as always, for coming in.
You're welcome.
All right. So before the break here, we were talking a little bit about the recording process and the overall sound. Let's get back into that.
Yeah, the recording process obviously isn't what it could be because I do most of the recording, all of the recording by myself. So I have to monitor what's going on while I'm singing and everything else, which kind of presents a challenge. But, the more I do it, of course, the more I get used to it. And I study the music a lot, the original, and try to, do the best I can to match it. Obviously, my voice will never be Elvis's, and my recording process will never be the recording process that he had either. I mean, those were pretty state-of-the-art recordings, some of those back in the day. And the digital age just kind of loses something,
It really does. Yeah, there's a spirit to the analog recording process.
That there is.
Definitely.
And
I tried to kind of, give back to the music in that way, in the sense that I don't produce it digitally. I sing it from beginning to end, and try to give it that, I might have hit a flat note here or hit it sharp here. I just leave it alone, and I try not to go too crazy. 'Cause you'll make yourself crazy over it.
Well, even with Elvis, though, he wasn't always on key or he hit it sharp all the time, and that's what I dig about it. Running the sound and stuff like that is it's a challenge to sound like that and to give a good performance sound wise to the audience, and it's pretty good.
yeah, man, absolutely. So what do we have coming up next?
The next song that we got is a song that's called One Night. And the original of the song was supposed to be called One Night of Sin, but Elvis and the guys didn't think that it was appropriate. Some of the lyrics were a little risque for 1957. So he rewrote the lyrics on one of his movie sets while he was in between takes and figured it out, and they came to the song One Night. And it was recorded February 23rd, 1957, and it was the B-side of I Got Stung. And it was a song that was written by Dave Bartholomew and Earl King. And it was 4 on the pop charts and 10 on the R&B charts. And also, before we play the song, I want to dedicate that song to a fan of mine. Her name is Wanda. So this goes out to you, Wanda. And she's a very special lady, and this was her and her husband's favorite song, and he's since passed. So I dedicate this to them.
Fantastic. Well, here it is, One Night on DNP 102.3 FM.
One night with you is what I'm now praying for. The things that we two could plan would make my dreams come true. Just call my name and I'll be right side. I want your sweet helping hand. My love's too strong to hide. Always live very quiet life. I never did no wrong. Now I know that life without you has been so lonely too long. One night with you is what I'm now praying for. The things that we do could plan would make my dreams come true. Always live, never quite lie. I ain't never did no wrong. Now I know that life without you has been too lonely too long. One night with you is what I'm now praying for. The things that we two could plan would make my dreams come true.
One Night by Wesley, Allan, and Elvis tribute on DNP 102.3 FM. And that was another awesome recording, man.
Thank you. Thanks. You know, it's kind of funny how, I guess, I don't really pick the songs necessarily. The songs kind of pick me. And, you know, every song that I record speaks to me in some sort of way. And I also try to do the songs that I know my voice will, you know, is accommodating to. Because I know there's some Elvis songs out there, like Jailhouse Rock, for instance, is a really hard song for me to sing. And it's also a song that's hard to find the track for that I like. And that's part of the thing, too, is finding the music that you like, the accompaniment, plus, you know, where do your vocals fall on that. So you got to... Picking the right song is definitely part of the process. So,
Can imagine.
the next song that I have is a song that's called "Good Luck Charm," and it was recorded October 15th of 1961, and it reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in April 21st, 1962, and it was recorded at RCA Nashville, and that's where I had mentioned earlier that my cousin worked at. So that was kind of an interesting connection there, and I got the Shure microphone out of the deal. So, but yep, Good Luck Charm. So.
Good Luck Charm on DNB 102.3 FM.
Oh yeah. Don't want a four-leaf clover. Don't want an old horseshoe. Want your kiss, 'cause I just can't miss with a good luck charm like you. Come on and be my little good luck charm. Oh, you sweet delight. I want a good luck charm hanging on my arm. A two-hat, a two-hole, a two-night. Don't want a silver dollar, rabbit's foot on a string. The happiness in your home caress no rabbit's foot could bring. Come on and be my little good luck charm. Oh, you sweet delight. I want a good luck charm hanging on my arm. A two-hat, a two-hole, a two-night. Oh yeah. Tonight.
whiskey penny, I toss it across the bay. Your love is worth all the gold on earth. No wonder that I say, come on and be my little good luck charm. Oh, you sweet delight. I want a good luck charm hanging on my arm. A two-hat, a two-hat, a two-hole, a two-hole, a two-night.
Welcome back to Saturday Night Live and Local. As always, thank you for tuning in. We were having a great time here in the studio with Wesley, Allan, and Elvis tribute. And we just heard that was Good Luck Charm, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Yes, absolutely.
I hope you enjoyed it. I really like that song. It's really old-timey, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
It was interesting to record, too. And, you know, some of the songs that I've recorded, you're never, ever, as an artist, happy with anything you do. So you just got to kind of be done with it sometimes and just move on, because you could literally, I could drive myself crazy with this stuff, but there's got to be a limitation, I suppose.
That's the perfectionist in him.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes about perfection is achieved not when there's nothing left to add, but when there's nothing left to take away.
Yeah, yep, and that's very true. Yep.
Absolutely.
So, the next song I think we're going to cue up is a song. It's one of my personal favorites. It's a song called "Fame and Fortune." It was recorded March 21st of 1960 in RCA Studio B in Nashville, same place as the last song. And this was the first recording that Elvis did after he got out of the Army, which is something else that I wanted to touch on. When Elvis was drafted in I think it was 1957, he went in 58.
Mm-hmm.
He, of course, was worried about his career because he was going to go off into the Army, and they thought, well, you know, what are we going to do? He's going to be out for 2 years.
Right.
And so we're not going to have any music or movies. The public will forget about him, and his career will be over. And it might have been, except for the Colonel did one thing that was really smart. They recorded songs before he went in, and while he was in, they would release the songs. And so they didn't ever really miss a beat musically while he was gone in the Army, which was a really good thought.
Now, did the public know that they were recorded prior to him going in, or did they think that he was releasing these songs while he was serving his country?
Well, I'm sure they understood what he was doing. You know.
Yeah.
He served in Germany, so he wasn't at home the whole time. And so anyway, the next song was his first session after he got out from the Army, and it was also a song that he released on the Frank Sinatra TV show, which was some sort of a special that they did March 26th of 1960. And so he also came out on that special in his Army uniform, and got to sing with Frank Sinatra too as well.
That's very cool.
But they released that song on the television show.
And
so.
you were talking about the song selection process. This has got to be one that really kind of strikes a personal chord with you.
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. I mean, Fame and Fortune, you know, just as the song goes on, listen to the words, and it really sums it up. And, you know, and I think that Elvis himself, I mean, what an incredible man he was. They estimate that Elvis gave over $1 billion away.
Wow.
While he was alive to charity and buying people cars or helping people.
Now think of that in today's money.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That was prior to, 1977, right?
Oh,
Correct,
yeah.
yeah.
So think about $1 million given away over them years.
Yeah, $1 billion.
$1 billion.
$1 billion.
And that money to what it would be today.
I mean, that would be
you're probably looking at what, 15, $20 billion?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, what an incredibly charitable man. And
Right.
he was a very spiritual guy, too. He was into, you know, I've heard some of his entourage talk about he was into just about every religion.
Really?
Because he didn't want to, you know, choose the wrong one. So he would study them all.
Yeah.
And so he was in he was a Christian, I think, but he also just studied like Judaism and Buddhism and things like that. So to try to cover all his bases.
I can't say I blame him with
Yeah.
all the people he was going to the masses.
Yeah,
No kidding. And he could have fought being drafted as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, he was Elvis Presley.
Right. And I think that says a lot for the man's character. I mean,
Yeah.
here's a guy, he's on top of the world. He's a superstar beyond all belief. Never before or ever since, really, have we had
Yeah.
anybody like him.
No. Not at
And
all.
the man was humble enough to do his time and do what he had to do.
Well, like right at the same time, you have Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali,
Right.
where he wouldn't go.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
And, well, I mean, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you can't, I guess in some ways, though, you can't really blame the guy for not going.
Right.
I mean, he had his own thing going on. So I
Wait, he was a fighter though.
yeah, exactly. And, I respect his decision. He found his own way too, I guess. But, to each his
I just
own,
always
suppose.
respect him because that, like I said, growing up, my grandma was a huge Elvis fan.
Yeah.
And, you got that iconic image of after they cut his hair and he's, going out to get on the plane and all the people were watching him and that was a really huge iconic moment for him.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There are some Facebook pages that are dedicated to nothing but Elvis photography, and you get to see a lot of those really cool pictures that you wouldn't get to see anywhere else, like him leaving, to go to Germany on the aircraft and out in the snow. you know.
Wow.
So
No kidding. Well, what I want to do for the listeners actually is give them a little bit of a treat, and I also want to give you guys a little bit of a break. So the song that we're going to hear coming up next is Fame and Fortune, and I'd actually like to go right into the next track after that, if that's
yeah,
all right with you.
that'd be great. And the next song after that will be called Now and Then There's a Fool Such as I. It was a Hank Snow song. He was an artist back in the day, a musician, and that song was recorded June 10th of 1958, so we're kind of going back. But it was one of those songs that he recorded before he went in. And so that was one of the songs that the Colonel held on to. And it was on the B-side of I Need Your Love Tonight. So
Well, I guess I'm your colonel, ain't I?
I guess sort of, yeah.
Very cool. So
He keeps me in line,
yeah, absolutely. So we get to hear Fame and Fortune, and that was the first song that he recorded after he got out of the service, correct?
Yep, and then Now and Then There's a Fool Such as I, before he went in.
There we go. And you heard it straight from the source. This is Saturday Night Live and local on DNP 102.3 FM.
I didn't mean to. I barely.
Fame and the fortune, how empty they can be. But when I hold you in my arms, that's heaven to me. Who cares for fame and a fortune? They're only passing things. But the touch of your lips on mine makes me feel like a king. Your kind of love is a treasure I hold. It's so much greater and silver or gold. I know that I have nothing. If you should go away, but to know that you love me brings name and fortune that your love me brings fame and fortune my way. Pardon me if I'm sentimental when we say goodbye. Don't be angry with me should I cry. When you're gone, yet I'll dream a little dream as years go by. Now and then there's a fool such as I. Now and then there's a fool such as I am over you. You taught me how to love, and now you say that we are through. I'm a fool, but I love you dear till the day I die. Now and then there's a fool such as I. Now and then there's a fool such as I am over you. You taught me how to love, and now you say that we are through. I'm a fool, but I love you dear till the day I die. Now and then there's a fool such as I. Now and then there's a fool such as I. Now and then there's a fool such as I. Now and then there's a fool such as I.
Now and then there's a fool such as I on Saturday Night Live and Local. We still have plenty of great material coming up for you guys. We're actually going to run a little over, or as I like to say, into the after hours of Saturday Night Live and Local to finish up the show. Also, too, I'm excited to announce that if you give us a call, we're going to give away a pair of tickets to the next performance here from Mr. Wesley Allan. So the fifth caller will get that pair of tickets. So give us a call and win some tickets. So, before we go into the break, after we come back from the break, we're going to see a pretty significant change in the music that we're hearing.
Yeah, as I said before, Elvis was a spiritual guy, and of course, being a spiritual guy, he did spiritual music. And so Elvis was into gospel music immensely. And you could really tell, too, about how Elvis sang gospel music when he was live. It was really his passion. Mm-hmm. And I think and I believe that's really what he lived for.
That's really hard to get sounding good.
Yeah.
Because of it's so clear that, it is a challenge to get it to sound the way you want it to
live,
sound.
definitely.
With the gospel music. And yeah, it's interesting.
Definitely. So, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
No, you please.
Speaking of the gospel music, probably one of Elvis's most famous gospel songs was "How Great Thou Art," which is the next song that we're going to do. And it's interesting, out of all of the music that Elvis recorded and performed, his gospel songs were the only ones that ever create any Grammys for him. He won 3 Grammys, and they were all for gospel music.
Really?
Yeah.
No
And
kidding.
if I'm not mistaken, at least 2 of them or all of them might have been for "How Great Thou Art." I think there was they gave him a Grammy for the live performance of "How Great Thou Art" as well as the actual recording too. So.
Very cool.
Yeah, and that was the "How Great Thou Art" album, which is what that was on. It had Elvis in the church on the cover of the album. It was recorded in May of October to May of 1960 through 66. So it was pretty much a compilation of all the gospel songs that he had done up till that time, as far as I know. So I don't want to misspeak Elvis history, because I know if there's an Elvis person out there and I mess something up, they're going to be like, he's got it wrong. They're pretty passionate about their facts.
Yes, they are.
Yep.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Well, before we go into the break, for you Elvis fanatics out there, give us a call, 343-1023. Win a pair of tickets to Wesley Allan Elvis Tribute live at Park Place Teen Center coming up on February 13th. Again, it's 343-1023. And we'll be right back right after this.
How Great Thou Art.
Pardon me if I'm sentimental.
DNP 102.3 FM, Saturday Night Live and Local, getting into the after hours now with Wesley Allan, the Elvis tributes. Actually, the phones are going crazy right now. People are trying to win themselves a pair of tickets to come
That's
see
awesome.
him, man. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So we talked before the break that we were getting ready to get into some of Elvis's gospel and how interesting it was. You said that was between 60 and 66?
Yeah, this particular song or album was recorded from 60 to 66. Yeah, there's different compilations of songs on there, so on that particular album. So, and the first one for that will be the title track, which is "How Great Thou Art."
Very cool. Well, you heard it from the source. This is How Great Thou Art, live on Saturday. Well, not live, but being played live on Saturday Night Live and Local on DNP 102.3 FM.
Okay, cool. Thanks, John. Bye-bye.
Consider all the worlds thy hands have made. I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder. By power throughout the universe displayed. When Christ shall come with shout of acclamation, then I shall bow great thou art. How great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art. How great thou Well, I'm tired and so weary, but I must go alone till the Lord comes and calls me away. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, the morning so bright and the lamb is alive, and the night is as black as the sea. Oh, yeah.
There will be peace in the valley for me someday.
Oh, there will be peace in the valley, oh Lord, for me. Oh, yeah.
There'll be no sadness, no sorrow, no trouble I see.
Oh, there will be peace in the valley for me, for me. Oh, well, the bell will be gentle, and the walls will be tame, and the lion shall lay down by the Lamb. Oh, yeah. And the beast of the wild shall be led by a child, and I'll be changed from this creature that I am. Oh, yeah.
There will be peace in the valley for me someday.
Oh, there will be peace in the valley, oh Lord, for me. Oh, yeah.
There'll be no sadness, no sorrow, my Lord, no trouble I see.
Oh, there will be peace in the valley for me,
for me.
DNP 102.3 FM. That was Peace in the Valley. A very soothing song to the soul, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a wonderful song. In fact, I mean, in my own life, if I'm not mistaken, my grandfather passed away in 1985, and I do believe they played that at his funeral.
Is that right?
So yeah, it's kind of a personal song for me too, and but you know, that song was special for Elvis as well, and he went to sing it on television, and they actually didn't want him to sing that
Really?
song on TV, and he refused to listen to him, and he sang it. So and made it the hit that it is, you know, among Elvis fans. Certainly, you know, with the gospel genre that he was into, I think it would be hard to find somebody who could sing it with as much soul as he did. He was a very soulful singer. And one of the next songs that we'll be playing for you guys will be a song that's very special to me. It's called "You'll Never Walk Alone," and as a Marine veteran, and to all the veterans, you know, you understand what it is. Of course, you'll never walk alone. That guy beside you, your buddy in a hole or sleeping in the tent, you know, he's got your back. And to relate that in gospel terms, of course, you know, the Lord will walk with you wherever you go. And my relationship with God and Christ, certainly through my time in the Marine Corps, you know, definitely got strengthened. There were some times over there that I wasn't sure I would make it home, you know, just some different things going on. And so that's definitely a very special song to me. And also I would like to dedicate this song to a dear friend of mine who's struggling with cancer. And Dee, this one is for you. You'll Never Walk Alone.
Wonderful. I can't wait to hear the soul you put behind it yourself. This is You'll Never Walk Alone on Saturday Night Live and Local by Wesley, Allan, and Elvis Tribute.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of a storm, there's a golden sky and a sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with a hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone, and you'll never ever walk alone. Walk on with a hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone, and you'll never ever walk alone.
That was a very soulful rendition of You'll Never Walk Alone by Wesley Allan.
Thank
Awesome
you.
stuff,
Thanks.
man.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Before we get into talking more about the music, real quick to the listeners, the next caller wins the tickets to go see Wesley Allan Elvis Tribute live at the Park Place Teen Center in Tuscarora Park on February 13th. Again, our phone number is 343-1023. Give us a call and win yourself a pair of these tickets to go not only and experience this great performance, but also to go and help out with the new Philly PD Auxiliary. So getting back into the music, that was, from what I understand, that was the end of the gospel section.
Yeah, that was the end of the gospel section of what I have prepared. And the next couple of songs we're going to get into are kind of some of the movie songs that he did. And the next song that we'll do is a song called Am I Ready? which was from the movie Spin Out, which was released in 1966. And do you remember the television show Coach?
Mm-hmm.
Do you
I
remember
personally
that?
don't.
Oh,
No.
come on, man.
No,
You're making me
sorry.
feel
Sorry.
old. Well, anyway.
If it makes you feel any better, I mean, we only had PBS for probably the first 10 to 12 years of my life. So.
Right. I
That
understand.
I totally get.
Yeah.
Me too, man. But anyway, Christine Armstrong was actually in the movie with Elvis, and or that was her character in Coach was Christine Armstrong. Her name is Shelley Faraba, I think is how you pronounce her last name. But anyway, Elvis actually sang to her, and when I found out that it was the same girl, you know, I was like, I couldn't believe it. And anyway, it was recorded at Radio Recorders in Hollywood, California, and so it was, like I said, for the movie Spin Out. So next track is Am I Ready?
And you heard it from the source on DNP 102.3 FM, Saturday Night Live and local.
Am I ready? Can my heart be true? Am I ready to fall in love with you? One love, one girl, one dream shared by two. Am I ready to fall in love with you? I have touched your lips, and now I know I would be a fool to let you go. Should I? Could I? How I wish I knew. Am I ready to fall in love with you? Should I? Could I? How I wish I knew. Am I ready to fall in love with you? Fall in love with you.
Am I Ready by Wesley, Allan, and Elvis tributes on DNP 102.3. Coming up next, what are we going to be hearing next from you?
This next song we're going to do. This next song we're going to do is a song called "Indescribably Blue," and it was recorded June 10th of 1966, and it was also recorded at Studio B in Nashville. So, I guess Nashville was the place to be. I don't know.
All
I
right.
bet you it was crazy back then.
I can't imagine.
You know, being there at that point in time.
Yeah. If only we could just go back in time and be a fly on the wall, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right, so coming up next is Indescribably Blue on Saturday Night Live and local. This is Indescribably Blue on Saturday Night Live and local.
Our friends all ask me the last time I saw you. I smile and tell them it's been a day or two. There'd be no way to explain it, the way that I miss you, and my love you have left indescribably blue. I talk to your picture, my favorite one of you. I wish that you were with me, but what good would it do? There'd be no way to tell you the pain that I've been through. Oh, my love, you have left me indescribably blue. Yes, my love, you have left me indescribably blue.
Indescribably Blue on Saturday Night Live and Local by Wesley, Allan. Another fantastic rendition. Real quick, I wanted to congratulate a couple of our listeners on both of them winning a pair of tickets to go see him coming up on, I believe it's February 13th at 1 p.m. at the Park Place Teen Center at Tuscarora Park. Congratulations to Pamela Androsky and also to Barb Espenschied. Congratulations, guys, on winning yourselves a pair of tickets for that great event. So what do we have coming up next?
Oh, the next song will be the last of like the movie era songs before the '68 comeback special. Well, Rubberneckin' is the next song, and it was recorded for the film Change of Habit, which came out in 1969, I think. And of course, the '68 comeback special was before that, but it's kind of that beginning that transition from the movie cycle into the Vegas stuff.
Yeah.
So that 69, 70 era, and the jumpsuit era starts to kick in. So, people would ask me too, well, what is your favorite era of Elvis, And I have to say every era. I don't mind doing the whole jumpsuit thing, and I don't mind just, showing up in a pair of slacks, I don't really care either way. I love all the music from the different time periods. So, but yep, the next one we'll do for you is called Rubberneckin'.
Here it is, Rubberneckin' on Saturday Night Live and Local.
Stop, look and listen, baby. That's my philosophy. It's called rubbernecking, baby, but that's alright with me. Stop, look and listen, baby. That's my philosophy. It's called rubbernecking, baby, but that's alright with me. Some people say I'm wasting time, but they don't really know. I like what I see what I like. It gives me such a glow. First thing in the morning, last thing at night. I look, stare everywhere, and I see everything inside. Hey, 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 stop, look and listen, baby. That's my philosophy. It's called rubbernecking, baby, but that's alright with me. People say I'm wasting time, but I don't really care. I see what I like what I see. It gives me such a glow. Sitting on the back porch all by myself. Alone came Mary Jane. I'm
we were just talking while that was playing. You can really hear the transition right there, and that was a little sneak peek of what we have in store for you coming up. But that was Rubberneckin' by Elvis Presley, and of course you could really hear, like I said, you could really hear the transition getting ready, almost get into the Vegas era.
Yeah, the concert era they call it.
Yeah.
That song it's pretty unique. I mean, it's pretty upbeat.
It really is.
After going through Indescribably Blue, it hits you with that Rubberneckin'. It's a great song. I really loved it. Anyway, the next era that we're going to do real quick is the 68 comeback special. We're going to kind of go backwards a little bit. And there was a song that a guy named Billy Strange and Mac Davis wrote, and it's called Memories. And it was, of course, on the 68 comeback special, Elvis performed that. And they also wound up recording it. So we can go right into that.
All right, very nice. We're gonna have a treat for you guys. We're gonna do we're gonna do 2 songs. We're gonna take a quick break at the bottom of the hour, and then we'll be right back. This is Saturday Night Live and Local with Wesley, Allan, and Elvis Tribute on DNP 102.3 FM.
Memories pressed between the pages of my mind. Memories sweetened through the ages just like wine. Quiet thoughts come floating down and settle softly to the ground like golden autumn leaves around my feet. I touched them and they burst apart with sweet memories, sweet memories of holding hands in red bouquets and twilight trimmed in purple haze, and laughing eyes in simple ways, and quiet nights and gentle days with you. Memories pressed between the pages of my mind. Memories sweetened through the ages just like wine. Memories, memories of holding hands in red bouquets and twilight trimmed in purple haze, and laughing eyes in simple ways, and quiet nights and gentle days with you. Memories, memories, sweet memories. I just can't help believing when she smiles up soft and gentle, with a trace of misty morn and a promise of tomorrow in her eyes. I just can't help believing when she's lying close beside me, and my heart beats with the rhythm of her sighs. This time the girl is gonna stay. This time the girl is gonna stay for more than just a day. I just can't help believing when she slips her hand in my hand, and it feels so small and helpless as my fingers fall time the girl is gonna stay.
This time the girl is gonna stay.
This time the girl is gonna stay for more than just a day. Just a day.
Oh, I just can't help believing.
Sing.
Oh, I just can't help believing. Oh, I just can't help believing.
One more.
Oh, I just can't help believing.
For more than just a day. I just can't help believing when she slips her hand in my hand and feels so small and helpless as my fingers fold around it like a glove. I just can't help believing when she's whispering her magic and her tears are shining honey sweet with love. This time the girl is gonna stay.
This time the girl is gonna stay.
This time the girl is gonna stay for more than just a day.
Oh, I just can't help believing. Oh, I just can't help believing. Oh, I just can't help believing. Oh, I just can't help believing.
Welcome back to Saturday Night Live and Local. That was I Just Can't Help Believin' by Wesley, Allan, and Elvis Tribute. And when we were during the break, we were talking, and there's a really a big factor that we've completely forgotten to mention on
Right.
air. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, a few months ago, I got a casting call for a television show, and I answered the casting call. Basically, some questionnaires and things like that, and
Made a video.
Yeah, did some videos, and was selected for an up-and-coming television show called Just Like Elvis TV. And what that entails, it's going to be like a docudrama, and they're going to follow us around as we do this whole thing. And wherever we perform, there'll be a camera crew following me around.
That's
pretty
way
much
too cool.
24/7.
So
It's kind of, it's a little creepy in some ways, but I guess the way I looked at it, in our decision, and I say our decision because I talked to my wife about it too. If I can put the word out to draw more people into these shows and these benefits that help the community or help other people, that's what it's all about for me. When it stops being something that I can give or help people with, then I'm not sure if I would even do it. I mean, that's just such a huge part of what goes on here.
yes, yeah, it is.
So.
Awesome. So that's incredible. That's very, very cool. Aside from that, what do you guys do outside of being an Elvis tribute?
I work in carpentry. I've done that pretty much since I got out of the Marine Corps in one way or another. I work in a cabinet shop right now. And by the way, the people who own the cabinet shop are very, very wonderful people. And I've never worked in a place that's been better to work for. The folks that have that place are just awesome. So thank you to them. And they're very, very good people.
Absolutely.
So,
Blue collar.
Yep,
blue collar
absolutely,
work, man.
absolutely. Show up to work every day and work just like the rest of us, man. I mean, they're good, salt of the earth people.
Awesome.
Now, I run Dan's Roofing and Home Improvements.
Oh, fantastic.
20-year business, was passed down, family owned and operated. Been doing construction and stuff all my life. Even me and Wes has remodeled a few houses together.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day.
And done some stuff.
Yep.
Carpentry's in our blood.
Yep.
Carpentry and roofing. So
It's a great trade.
Yeah, absolutely.
I personally can relate. So, and for me, it's always been the fact that it's the polar opposite of like a factory job. You actually get progress with every single thing that you do.
Absolutely.
You're completing something, and you're
you
getting
can take
towards.
more pride in your work.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, my dad told me once, my dad, he grew up during the Depression, so, but fortunately my grandpa was a pretty good guy with his hands, and he knew how to work. And he never really, as far as I know, ever really struggled through those times because he knew how to work with his hands. And that's one thing that my dad always taught me, as a guy from his generation. He said, Wes, if you know how to work with your hands, you'll never starve.
Yep.
And how true is that? I mean,
That is so true.
that's been with me my whole life. If I didn't have my hands, I'd be
my
in big
grandpa
trouble.
was the same way.
Yep.
Me and my uncle were about 6 years apart, and we'd go to my grandpa's, and pretty much every weekend that we were there, we would tackle something different. So I learned how to dig a ditch, lay pipe. I learned how to roof. I learned how to put up walls and drywall, and it started when you were little, and it's just something that's carried on.
And I think we were fortunate too. The way that we were raised is we were raised with among guys who still knew how to do things. All too often anymore, you see these guys that might be a little younger, and they just unfortunately have no grasp on how to even change a tire.
Right.
And so I can definitely say being kind of raised poor helped me because I know how to do a lot of stuff,
Me too.
Absolutely.
Me too. Yeah, being raised poor, you had to fix everything yourself.
Exactly. You couldn't
So,
afford to pay
yeah,
somebody else
yeah.
to do it.
I actually I borrowed my brother's car to take a girl out on a date once, and I was just so excited. It was a Friday night, and got done with work, and he somehow got a Mercedes Benz or something that was, it was a few years older, or maybe it was, I don't know what kind of car it was, but I'm cruising down the road on Worcester Avenue, and it just died on me, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm rolling up, I'm thinking I'm going to roll up in this nice car, and I'm going to be really, impressing this girl, blah, 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 and the car breaks down. And so I'm like, there's got to be something in here that's going to fix this. So I'm digging around, and my brother's got all these crazy parts and tools in there, and what it turned out to be the cable to the gas pedal, basically. It
Accelerator.
snapped.
No
yeah,
kidding.
the accelerator cable snapped, and it was right at the end, and it had this little nylon ball on it that fell off. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You're supposed to be like this nice German car, and you're using nylon balls, on your ignition. I'm like, you're kidding me. Left me stranded. So I dug around in his trunk, and he had these parts to door jam, the strike plate that goes, and I was looking at that, and he had a pair of tin snips, and, in about 10 minutes I had that thing up and running. I went up to Canton to the dealership and said, look, I need this part for this car. What can you do? 88 cents is all it took to fix it. But without those, those skills that were given to me by those elders in my life, I don't know where it'd have been.
At this point right now, I'm trying to pass down some stuff to my son and to my girlfriend's boy too, and try to pass on some of that stuff so they can work on their stuff. So I might take this point to tell Cole, Tracy, Jordan, and Barb, and Randy that I love you guys, and I'll see you when we're done.
All right. Well, safe to say, if you wouldn't have had those skills, that really could have hurt your chances.
Yeah, and
that
it's
date
funny
that night.
because the next song is called Hurt.
Now, I do got to say something. He ribbed on me here in a little bit. When he sings this song, buddy, I'm going to tell you what. I don't know if he's grabbing a hold of something and squeezing, but I'm going to tell you what, buddy, the look on his face, just be glad that I stand behind and nobody else does.
Elvis, when he would do this song, I heard him say before, he's like, look, you got to be built in the right place, you just do. It hurts to sing this song.
All right. Well, here it is, Hurt by Wesley Allan and Elvis Tribute on Saturday Night Live. Into it. A little bit of a technical difficulty. Here it is, Hurt on DNP 102.3.
I'm so hurt to think that you lied to me. I'm hurt way down deep inside of me. You said our love was true and I'll never part. Now you want someone new and it breaks my heart. I'm so much more than you'll ever know. Yes, darling, I'm so hurt because I still love you so. Oh, but you hurt me like nobody else could ever do. I would never, ever hurt you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Talk about belting it out. That was Hurt by Wesley Allan.
Yeah.
Man, that was some range.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's quite a song to do. And it's really interesting. Towards the end of Elvis's career, before he passed, he sort of, I don't know if he turned into a homebody or what, but he didn't like to go to the recording studio. So what did they do? They figured out how to bring the recording studio to him, and they actually recorded in Graceland.
Wow.
And that song, the studio version of it, was recorded in Graceland February 5th and 6th, of 1976. So.
Wow. Before we get into the last song, I'm sad to say we only have one more song left
Yep.
for the listeners. But before we get into the last song, as it's almost becoming a tradition out here on the show, is there anyone you want to thank?
Absolutely. First of all, of course, as a Christian, I thank God, and I give God the glory, and thank Him for the opportunities that He's given me to help people. And I always just kind of feel that's what we're supposed to do anyways.
Absolutely.
By far, I'm not a perfect man, I was born a sinner, but by His grace, I'm saved. But that aside, all the religious stuff, sorry to throw that at you.
No.
I definitely would like to thank my parents.
Very good people.
Yep, we've been through a lot. My parents are in their 80s now, and I can't believe how good shape they're in. That's just incredible.
Yes, yeah, they are in very good shape.
Yep, my mom too. She's something else, man.
She cracks me up.
Definitely. By looking at her, you would think, she's probably, 40, 50 years old sometimes. I mean, I've seen guys my age, or people my age that my mom, they couldn't hold a candle to her. It's incredible. She's just kind of just always there. So
I talked to your dad a little bit tonight. He sounds like a really nice guy.
yeah, he
He's
is.
super
Yep.
supportive.
Yeah, yep. And it's funny, when I first got into the whole Elvis thing, he was kind of, well, Wes, where exactly are you going with this? I don't know. Wherever it takes me, it's been an incredible ride in the last year and a half. To go from posting a couple of videos, to being on radio stations and
To be getting a following, to the TV show.
right.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, Lord only knows, from here where it will all lead. And by no means really do I expect to or want to be any sort of like star or anything. I don't really, even coming on radio stations, I don't even, my thing is singing to people. You know what I mean? And
The interaction.
yeah, the
Right.
interacting with the audience and the people. And I'm not afraid to give somebody a hug or a kiss. You know what I mean? I really
Or
enjoy.
a hug, kiss, and a scarf.
Yeah. I really enjoy the time with the fans that I have gained in the last year and a half or so. And I hope that this can continue on. So, but I wanted to leave tonight with a song that I thought, or that I felt was very special in the way of Elvis fans, because it was he's known for it as being one of the last songs that he recorded that was live on TV. And the song, of course, the Righteous Brothers did it, first of all, and it's called Unchained Melody. And it was just Elvis and the piano. And they also put it on the Moody Blue album, which was that last album that Elvis released. And it's also one of the harder songs to sing of Elvis.
Yes, it
Yeah, I
is.
can imagine.
One other thing I'd like to thank Wes for, have me help him for all the years that I have. He publicly thanked me at the Quaker, the first show, and it really humbled me. And I just want to take the opportunity to tell you, man, I love you, brother. And
You too.
Thanks a lot for bringing me along. And I love doing this stuff. We have a great time together, and we're due to see some rowdy people anyway.
Yeah. Don't make me cry, man. Come on. Enough of that mushy stuff.
Well, hey, while we're spreading the love, I want to take the chance to put my thanks out there as well. Of course, to DNP 102.3 FM. And
Oh,
also,
yes. Thanks a lot for having us.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Love you,
guys.
Mom and Dad.
Thank you guys so much
Love
for
you,
being
Cole.
here. It's been such a great time.
Thanks.
And I
Tracy.
can't say how much I respect what you're doing.
Thank
and
you.
what you're doing for the community, man. It's truly fantastic. So, again, thank you so much for everything that you do. It means a lot to me personally. Somebody
you.
who likes to volunteer and do what he can for the community as well.
It's important.
It
Yeah,
absolutely
it is very important. There
And-
ain't enough people doing that kind of stuff these days.
There isn't, but you know what? There's a lot more of it going on here in Tuscarawas County than what
Other
people
places.
realize.
Yeah,
and
there is.
That's what makes our home so special to me, of course, and of course to the people that live here in Tuscarawas County, to our listeners, to everyone who's been listening to this show tonight. Without you guys having the interest that you have in listening, then we wouldn't be doing this right now.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
we could not do it without Chad Feldbush, our engineer. He is the man, the myth, the legend. So, Chad, thank you as always for pouring so much heart and soul into this place, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's on my end. It's been a truly humbling experience, and what more can I say than that?
You see,
Definitely.
with me being, I'm there, but I'm not there. I get to see the whole perspective,
The man behind the scenes.
and you know what I mean. I get to see what it's all about,
Right.
And I have the best seat in the house.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Chad can relate, man.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he does
Yep.
for us here,
and,
too.
And on that note, thank you for helping me all these years too, Nick. It really means a lot to have a friend that you can trust in and
a brother.
Yep, and back you up, and that's important. And I think if more people looked out for each other that way, the better off we would be.
That is the truth.
Yep. But my experience as a Marine and stuff like that, it's definitely humbling, and it definitely made me a better man, I would say.
Oh yeah.
And for any of those young guys out there who are even considering going into any service, I'm not going to sit here and try to recruit you on radio, but the Marine Corps is still quite an awesome establishment, and I'm not going to say I recommend going in, but it's a great thing, definitely. So
I will say this.
And-
I've known Wes since you
Yep.
were young. When he came back, he came back with drive, knew what he wanted, and direction.
yeah,
And
yeah,
before he went in, he wasn't sure where he wanted to go.
yeah,
And when he come back with a new drive.
yeah, definitely.
And I commend him for that. And commend you for your service, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's you put your life on the line so we can see, so something like DNP 102.3 can even exist. And so that's
Thank you.
Yeah, saying thank you doesn't do it any justice.
Yeah. And thanks to all the other veterans out there. And one of these days here, we'll maybe try to do some sort of a veterans benefit. If we know any veterans that need help financially or whatever, get in touch with us. We can hook up a show. We can put on a benefit, and we're not afraid to do it.
No.
And all we got to do is bring the speakers, get the Quaker or wherever whoever
we
will
could
give us a
come to
venue.
you and
So,
set up a stage
Yep.
and do whatever we need to do to accomplish what we need to accomplish.
Awesome,
and,
guys.
and sell tickets and
Yes.
help people. So
Awesome.
That's
Awesome.
the biggest goal is just to help people.
Yep.
Most definitely. Well, before we get into Unchained Melody, which we're going to go ahead and, Elvis is going to leave the building with. Before we get into that, just go ahead and plug your upcoming shows one more time. Let everybody know where you're going to be and where they can come see you.
Yep. Okay. Of course, the first show is going to be in a couple weeks. It's February 13th at 1 p.m. at the Park Place Teen Center. And that'll be benefiting the New Philadelphia Police Department Auxiliary. So definitely come out and support the police. And we know they don't have an easy job at all these days.
Mm-mm.
And as a Marine, I can kind of sort of maybe get a glimpse into what kind of a life that they have, And I can tell you it's not an easy thing to be a public servant. And so I commend them also.
Absolutely. And what do you have coming up after that?
It looks like we'll be back at the Quaker in March or April, like late March, early April, sometime after Easter.
Right.
And so hopefully within the next year or so, 6 months, whenever, we'll be filming the television series and try to get that in there. I want to try to see how much of the local stuff that we can incorporate into that to
Right.
help bring
Bring notoriety to
Yep.
Dover, New Philly, Tuscarawas County.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that goes with other artists and musicians too. If the camera crew will be there, I definitely want to try to help showcase other people's talents because
Right.
we've got a tremendous amount of
Of
talent.
homegrown talent here.
Oh,
yes,
so
we do.
much.
Absolutely, yep. So
Well-
and that's it, man.
Very cool. Well, Elvis has left the building, and he's going to leave you with Unchained Melody. As always, thank you so much for
Thank
tuning
you.
in to a
Thank
Saturday
you
Night
guys
Live
so much
and
for having
local.
us.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this next song that I want to do, the Righteous Brothers did it. It's called Unchained Melody. Come here, Charlie. I'll hold my ring and hold the microphone, and I'll show them what keys to play. How do you like it so far? Oh, my love, my darling, I've hungered for your touch a long, lonely time. And time goes by so slowly, and time can do so much. Are you still mine, oh Lord?
God speed your love to lonely rivers to the sea, to the sea, to the open arms of the sea. Lonely rivers cry, wait for me, wait for me. I'll be coming home. Wait for me, my love, my darling. I've hunted for your kiss a long, lonely time. And time goes by so slowly, and time can do so much. Are you still mine? Need your love. I need your love. God speed your love to
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You've been a fantastic audience.